And here's just a quick look at the top 10. And again, reminder, these are going to be subjective based on the people who took these. So what someone may rate as number 1, you may rate as number 50. So a couple of notes on these. ROI actually moved into number 1. It was number 3 last year. Maybe, as you were saying earlier, it's due to the increased focus on cost and efficiency. Insights into top performing content moved from 4 to 2, and recommended highly targeted content went from 1 to 3, but it's still in the top 3. Optimizing website content was actually a big mover from number 10 last year to number 5 here. And then the 6 to 10, a couple of big movers. Performance reports, again, maybe tying to the efficiency and the outcomes, went from 17 to 9 this year. Buyer personas was the biggest jump. So construct buyer personas based on needs, goals, and intent. That was number 21 last year, and it jumped into the top 10 this year.
I love to see that one, the buyer persona. I think, talk to your first point of personalization. You said, like, if you're just doing customer or non-customer, it's like, there's so much more granularity to how we as buyers of personas, each of us, right? How we're interested in our needs, and using AI for that to create really personalized experiences. So I love that.
We've got a couple of examples here we'll run through, and then we'll get into the Q&A.
Yeah. So I know I've spoken a little bit, but I'm going to go through two customers of ours, Okta and Tenable. And I just have a couple use cases. So one is around target account experience, right? So if you know that right away, like we know that this person coming to the website is this is Okta's bot, so this is how they do it. They know it's a target account, and so they're asking, you want to talk to sales, because that's what they want. Speaking of, how do you want to guide the conversation, right? But what you can see is they can select from a couple options, or they can type in what they actually want. And so this whole idea is how do you leveraging AI to create a very specialized experience for your VIP accounts, your whale accounts, whatever you want to call them. They get a different experience than anybody else that comes to your website. And then second is around high intent pages. So this is all about conversion, right? Like, we know if your data shows us, if you're on a high intent page, they're high intent pages for a reason. Things like pricing, your homepage, you are more likely, especially pricing, right? Interested in, and you're probably later on in your research phase, you're ready to look at pricing, probably a high intent buyer. This is where not only can an AI powering a bot nurture that visitor more, right? Nurture that lead with the information they need. But again, create that personalized experience for them. So based on what they've maybe engaged with prior on the site, or maybe they've returned and this is their second time. So engaging them in the right way. So these are just some of the results that Okta has seen. They saw Drift as the fastest channel of converting those marketing qualified leads to pipeline. So again, that's where the AI, right, qualifying and taking that time instead of having a human necessarily like doing that top level qualification, where they could focus more on leads that we already know are qualified. Higher conversion rate. And then I think the 3K around support conversations deflected. So I think this is really important for two audiences. You have sales reps, sales teams, right? Who, like, you don't want a customer getting routed to a salesperson, because that's a terrible experience for your customer, primarily, number one audience. And two, for your sales rep, that's a waste of time. As we talk about efficiency, they're not the person they need to speak to, but they're often the easiest one to get on the phone, right? So that is a big power of AI right there. And then for Tenable, wanted to share a couple. So getting them to the information that they need quickly, right? So again, they can choose some, I think some folks might be asking, like, why do you have like some of these buttons? Sometimes you just include a few like answers that might, it's easy to click through, but you give them the option with the text box, to ask the question in specifically, maybe they're not looking for any of these things, and then can say, no, actually, that's not what I'm looking for. And then this is what I'm looking for. And tying to what Paul and I were, we were chatting about earlier is that's intent. You're not assuming based on behavioral data or anything. You are literally going to recommend an action, respond based on what they are literally telling you they're looking for and want. And then we use this. So we have Tenable uses this to drive more folks to their community. So that's where they allow, right, community of conversations. And so you can just see a conversation happening here and saying, this is what I want, but here's alternatives of like, you can chat with this folks or you can access, content here. So again, understanding, I think, again, just to like summarize it, like using AI to understand what does your specific buyer want and how do you surface the right answers and content for them in that conversation so they can quickly get to the outcome that they came to your, in this case, chat for. And again, just some results with Tenable, faster, 3x faster delivering SDR qualified leads, 30% improve in conversation quality, right? So nurturing and having those right ones, and then 20% conversion rate on AI leads. And this isn't like, I say this because this one's super important because it shows that having that personalization, having that free text conversation, it helps qualify, and you as a business qualify and helps your buyers qualify you. Like if you're thinking that we just are the ones qualifying, they're doing absolutely the same thing, right? There's so many options. So it helps them convert. And the last one is around this operational overhead. So one thing to be clear is this doesn't mean you're like replacing a human, right? It's just that's the amount of like dollar savings and time savings that now can be reallocated to more revenue generating or higher impact business initiatives.